Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, Creating Synergy, Aligning Planners' Wants with Hotels and Venues. Before we get started, let me walk you through some of the features and for engagement that we have in our webinar today. So we're live, obviously, and we have a few ways that you can engage with us during the session today. So to get us started, if you could go into the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. And then throughout the webinar, feel free to use that chat to engage with us and other attendees and add your commentary or experiences based on what we're talking about here today. Additionally, you can submit questions there, and we'll have some time at the end to check out those questions, and any of the upvoted questions we'll try our best to answer if there's time. And to download the slide deck and any relevant resources, click on the resources on the right. You'll receive a follow-up email with the link to the recording that you can rewatch at any time. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to give you guys a second in the chat to read through. I see you guys are from all over. Wow, we've got Toronto, Rhode Island, Florida. Love it. I love to see where everyone's from. Spain, that's awesome. UK, fabulous. All right. So with that, I'm gonna introduce myself. For those who don't know, my name is Jamie Welch. I'm a marketing manager here at Cvent. So today, we're going to explore some of the key insights from the Cvent Planner Sourcing Report, including how planners are leveraging technology for venue sourcing, the increasing focus on the attendee experience, and the rising popularity of special event venues. So the full report is available in the resource section, as I mentioned. I encourage you to download it, and after this to review it in full. There's tons of great information that we just unfortunately don't have time to get to today, so please, please, please check it out. So we know that just hearing these insights from us might have you wondering, well, okay, how's this actually playing out in the meeting and events industry? So we spoke to some people because we hear you. We sat down with some of our customers who gave us thoughts on some of the findings that we're discussing here today. We spoke to a third-party planner. We spoke to a hotelier, a special event venue, a corporate planner. And while these interviews were all done in advance of the webinar today, we really think that you'll find they're very pertinent to our discussion today. And finally, before we wrap up, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to try to have some time for Q&A. Keep in mind that our platform, the hoteliers and special event venues featured, are not live today on the webinar, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you have that we may not have covered today. One last thing before we kick this off, if you'd like to earn a $100 Amazon gift card, please sign up to complete a demo with us. Just click on the button on the left and that pop up at the bottom of your screen. To anyone who's outside of the US, the gift card can be converted from USD to another currency of your choosing. And then with that in mind, let's hop in. Okay, so first, let's talk about why Cvent creates this annual report in the first place. So on the screen, you see what we call the Cvent ecosystem, aka the powerful network effect that our technology creates. So let's start on the left, which is the event cloud side. Internally, this is what we call our event technology, which empowers planners and marketers to create amazing events across in-person, hybrid, virtual. We have 126,000 active planners who sourced 3 million total group RFPs last year. And with over 309,000 venues on the Cvent Supplier network, these hotels and destinations use our hospitality cloud platform to reach these event organizers, showcase their unique event spaces, and to collaborate and plan meeting and events of all types and sizes. And because we power the event ecosystem, we have a vested interest in sharing information with both planners and suppliers that continue to power the meeting and events industry. So over the summer in June and July, Cvent partnered with Censuswide to survey over 500 event planners in North America. The goal here was to gather insights on what planners want and need when selecting venues, including budgeting, tech use, and improving relationships with hotels and venues. 66% of those that were surveyed were millennials, which is ages 27 to 42. Almost half are optimistic about the event industry, with 69% expecting more in-person meetings in 2025. So now that you have some background on what the report is, let's dive into some of the key findings that we found. So number one, we're seeing a rising demand, with 66% of planners expecting offsite meetings to increase next year, and an even higher expectation of 85% among Gen Z planners. However, with this increased demand comes resource challenges. About 20% of planners are facing limitations in their event team, and 29% are struggling with time management. This means a lot of us are managing heavier workloads with less help than ever before, which you all know. So to tackle these challenges, technology adoption is on the rise. Notably, 36% of planners, particularly 52% of Gen Z, are dedicating more time to using technology to streamline sourcing of hotels and venues. This shift is crucial for enhancing efficiency in our processes. We're also seeing that event technology is becoming a significant factor in decision-making. About 18% of planners now prioritize a venue's event technology support when deciding to submit a request for proposal, or an RFP, as we all know. This highlights how essential tech capabilities have become in our selection criteria. Finally, there's a strong preference for online booking. A remarkable 84% of planners are more likely to choose a venue for simple meetings if it offers online booking options. So this trend underscores the importance of efficient sourcing solutions to meet our evolving needs. As I said, you won't be just hearing from me. So last week, we sat down with Terri Riddle, Senior Sourcing Specialist at CWT Meetings and Events, about some of these findings. Let's listen in to hear what she had to say.
So our team has recently adopted using the new RFP platform in the Cvent supplier network. So the great thing about that is, instead of in the legacy model where you scrolled through 5 or 6 tabs to enter all of your RFP information, the new platform is just a one-pager. So everything that you have to include is all on one page, and you're just scrolling down a page versus through tabs. So it saves time, it's more visually appealing, and you'll notice that right away when you look at it. So one thing within the agenda build that's great in the RFP platform is the writing assistant. So you can make notes within the agenda that the suppliers will see. And if you select writing assistant, it will take your notes and make them more clear and concise. You get to preview that. So if the writing assistant has maybe changed what you were meaning to convey to the suppliers, you can always cancel and not use that version of your notes and retain your original. But it's a great feature to see, and it's a great way to see what AI is doing in terms of translating language that you put in the notes. And then another great thing about the new RFP platform is in the responses. So suppliers are able to include advanced responses instead of the standard responses. And what you'll notice right away is, in the advanced response, it's just this visually appealing response that you're seeing instead of what you're used to seeing in terms of bulleted items. The advanced response really highlights the venue and just what's unique about that venue. So it's colorful, there's a lot of pictures, a lot of describing words about the property. I like it specifically for regions or properties that I may not be as familiar with. So I can show that to my client and let them see kind of a visual of what the supplier is proposing for their event. And we've received great feedback from our client about the advanced responses. And then just in general, Cvent does a great job of allowing us to connect with our hotel suppliers, our NSO, as well as CVBs, all in one click. So there's no need to send separate emails out to connect everyone and let them know about events that you're working on, because they'll see it within the Cvent RFP, which really creates an efficiency and makes it easier for us to communicate what we need to communicate with the people that need to know about it. Yeah, so my client doesn't really have a full definition for simple meetings, but just in terms of my experience, I consider a simple meeting a room block, maybe 25 rooms or under, or potentially a room block that maybe only has one general session space for a portion of the week. That's kind of how I would define a simple meeting for the client that I support. So one key element in the Cvent supplier network that I like to use for simple meetings is RFP Showcase. So the RFP Showcase basically puts the responses in the supplier's hands. So by selecting to add to RFP Showcase, when you send your RFP, a group of suppliers will be able to view that and bid on it versus you sending it out to suppliers that you select. So it saves time because you're not searching through the Cvent supplier network looking for suppliers to send to. You're just putting it out there and you can get bids that way. What I've found when I've used RFP Showcase is that suppliers respond more quickly than they would if you sent them out individually. So sometimes I'll see responses within less than 24 hours. And for simple meetings, that's great because you want to keep the process moving along as quickly and efficiently as possible. So I found that RFP Showcase allows that to happen. Yes, I would say that for the client that I support, we will see meeting request forms come in that are less than 30 days out. So when we have meetings like that, sometimes a client may want a specific property or specific location, but that's just not possible given the short lead time. So I've used RFP Showcase for that as well for those short lead time programs and had great success with it.
Thank you so much, Terri. So one thing that really stood out to me is not just the need for technology, but the need for technology that actually helps simplify manual and tedious processes and fosters better collaboration between planners and suppliers. So it's not that tech can solve everything, it's tech that can actually help you. So something else that Terri really stressed is the importance of visuals during the sourcing process, from including more in hotel and venue RFP responses to envisioning the actual event setup. So this echoes what we saw in our latest report, which is that planners need help visualizing how spaces can accommodate their specific event needs. 23% of planners say they struggle to understand how event spaces will truly meet their needs. And 21% find researching venue specifications and amenities is their biggest struggle. So this highlights the critical gap in information readily available that's necessary for planners to make informed decisions. Next, let's emphasize the importance of visuals. So for 52% of planners, meeting room specifications, along with visuals like images and videos, are crucial factors in deciding whether to submit an RFP, which is really no surprise. In fact, 46% cite these elements as key influences when selecting venues for their shortlist. So clearly, access to visual content can make a significant difference in the decision-making process. So now let's talk about timeliness. 80% of planners expect responses to their RFPs within 4 days or less. So delays in responses can create substantial challenges in the sourcing process, making prompt communication essential. And then finally, there is a strong desire for customization. About 22% of planners want venues to enhance their proposal customization, while 19% are looking for greater transparency. This indicates a clear need for tailored and transparent information as planners work to find the best fit for their events. So now let's hear from Laura Munari, Cluster Events Manager at Almar Resorts and Spa, about how venues can better meet planners' needs and share their perspectives on the importance of visuals, timely responses, and customization during the event planning process.
Of course, prioritizing proposals and customizing them, it's very, very important for my team. Our proposals always differ. And first of all, we try to make possible what clients underline in their RFPs. Recently, we have realized a project where all the teams involved in MICE in our company were involved, all the members were involved in studies and they were all around Italy, and they worked together to discover how to make our proposals more effective. And finally, we realized like a standard manual in which the most important rules for our group are defined to follow the rules we need to follow to succeed with proposals. And one of the key questions we have to make ourselves and our clients when receiving an RFP is what does the client care about the most? And this is the key questions we have to make because when we discover which is the key factor for a decision, when we try to highlight the solution we can propose in the first part of the offer. And this is crucial because in the first lines of a text, the attention of the customer is at its peak, and we have a higher chance of success and of making an impact with our proposals. Okay, what's the most important for planners to add in the RFP to ensure we can respond with the most detailed proposals? Good question. We need to understand the priority scale, of course, which is like a list that goes together with services needed for the event. And sometimes clients focus on concessions. For example, sometimes staying in the given budget is the key factor. Other times, for example, the floor, which has to be not with the carpet, but with the wooden floor is the key factor because carpet is not well accepted anymore. These are only examples, of course. With floor plans is very easy to work with planners and especially in the first stages of a booking. Virtual tour and clear floor plans are very strategic in this age. Time is never enough and saving time on satisfaction and journeys is something I think customers rate as a key value nowadays. If we manage to provide photorealistic images and detailed floor plans since the earlier stage, this increases the opportunity to succeed with our proposals. For example, in our company, for our 3 resorts, we have purchased the interactive floor plans tool sold by Cvent, and we are more than happy to use the system because every event has now its personal floor plans for every setup needed by the clients, and it's really amazing in my opinion. Client can receive a detailed image of what they have asked for their setup in their meeting rooms or ballrooms for every kind of the event. It's like cutting the distances in my opinion. I would like to say that technology is crucial. As I said before, we cannot live and work without it nowadays. But human help, human touch cannot be substituted, never. And especially in the event industry, because event managers are and their teams are, in my opinion, something that technologies cannot replace in any way when an event is going on or just before an event. Pressure is high and people need to be followed by humans first of all, because they feel safe if they have a person, a human being in front of them, and technology tools combined with human touch are the, of course, guaranteed success of an event, in my opinion.
So, as Laura said, there's never enough time in the event planning life cycle. All planners already know this, but by providing visuals faster, customized RFPs, you can help save process time, freeing up your teams to focus on other event elements. So, including floor plans, images, and better visuals. All of that only benefits both suppliers and event professionals in facilitating better collaboration during the planning process. So now let's look into how these elements relate to the broader context of building strong relationships in event planning. The key to successful event planning lies in the strength of relationships between planners and suppliers. So it makes sense that while planners are willing to switch venues for savings of up to 20%, the importance of trust and familiarity remains super strong, with 94% of planners preferring to pay more to work with venues that they know and trust. This goes right back to Laura talking about how we need that human touch, right? That human touch adds a certain element that we just can't put our fingers on. So the critical need for building and nurturing strong relationships cannot be underscored. Availability of dates also plays a significant role in decision-making processes. Over a quarter of planners consider this a key factor when submitting an RFP. This presents an opportunity for venues to be more transparent and communicative about their schedules, potentially leading to increased bookings. Additionally, we have to recognize the impact of staffing shortages. Almost a third of planners express concern about how these shortages affect venue availability. Staffing challenges not only influence the quality of service, but also strain planner-supplier relationships. Venues that proactively communicate about staffing can ensure quality service and prime position and to strengthen their relationships with planners. So once again, we're going to take a minute to hear insights from yet another planner. Therese Jardine, CEO of Strategic Event Procurement, will dive into the dynamics of venue selection and the significance of strong relationships in event planning.
So one of the things that I hear about with planners and concerns when it comes to negotiating is how can they manage their cost? And the thing that I like to offer them is to, as you're looking at what the hotel is offering you, focus on the things that affect your budget first. So if you're hosting an event for external attendees who will be paying for their own hotel rooms, then you probably really want to focus on the, food and beverage minimums, any meeting room rentals, if there are any, or getting them waived. The AV, if you want to bring in-house, use the in-house or bring in your own, and get those things aligned first, because that's going to have the most impact on your budget. Of course, you want to do right by your attendees and get the most favorable guest room rate you can. And, make sure that it's going to be in alignment with other hotels that might be in the vicinity, because you don't want them to skip out on your room block to get a cheaper rate someplace. But that would be the thing that I would say to focus on first. And then what happens if, the property has everything you want, but the price is, say, 10% higher than what your budget is? And, that's where negotiations can come into play. It's like, hey, we really love what you have to offer. This is our budget. Is there any way, that you can bring this or that down a little bit? But also, be prepared to go to your leadership and, show them what's in the marketplace, because you can negotiate the best package you can. And if it's still beyond your budget, then maybe the budget's not realistic. So that would be a tip that I would give to folks when they're looking at how to go about maintaining cost, but also being realistic about what a budget might need to be in order to have an effective and successful event. I hear from people, about what's going on in the market. Are we still facing the compression that we had coming straight out of COVID, where we had all of the rebooks and the ones that rebooks of the rebooks. MPI just recently did a study, where they survey meeting planners, and there seems to be a shift in attitude where, and I don't remember the specifics, but the perception of sellers market went from something like 62 or 65% down to more like 52%. So that tells me that planners are finding more opportunities for space and dates. And I think it also depends on, where you're looking in the country. Some of the smaller markets are actually, having opportunities for planners where they can, find what they need over the dates that they want. So, the industry is cyclical, and there are going to be times when it's going to be a hot seller's market, and then there are going to be times when things soften a little bit and goes more to a buyer's market. And so I think the best advice I would give people is, consider the destination you're looking at and what are the economic factors going on in that particular area, because I think that's going to drive your ability to find what you need and want. So the age-old question is, how many properties should you include in your RFP? And, I think if a venue feels like they've only got a 10% shot at winning the business, they're likely to decline because they've got other opportunities that are coming along. So what I suggest to folks is they do their research first. Go into the marketplace, look at what each property has to offer and how closely it's going to fit your specs. And then make sure that you actually build your specs that, in such a way that, the property can kind of go, oh, this is what, this is perfect for us. It's going to slide right into where we need it to be. And then I really recommend that you communicate, pick up the phone if you need to, and let these properties know that you're a serious piece of business. You're considering them and maybe 3 or 4 other properties, and really, express your desire to work with them. And I think that goes a long ways. And I do talk to my hotel partners from back in the day when I was at Microsoft, and those are the things that they tell me is, they don't want to be inundated with a bunch of hopeful RFPs. They want to know that the ones that they're receiving and the ones that they pay attention to are the ones that are, where the specs meet what they need, and that the planner is going to be flexible about trying to build a program that can work. And I think that's really important, because, what you go in thinking you're going to do, a lot of times these properties, they're like, oh, but we could do something a little bit different and it would be this much better, or it would be this, you could save a certain amount of cost. So, to sum it up, do your research, make sure the properties that you're including in your RFP truly are a good fit for your program. Reach out to them, let them know that you are a bona fide lead in this case, and then be flexible on what they come back with to, they may have some suggestions that you never thought of that could make your meeting or event that much better.
Thank you so much, Therese. So for those who maybe didn't see in the chat, we actually have Therese with us today. So she is in the chat. You can also submit questions through the Q&A. So if you have anything that you want to direct her away, let us know. So we all know that finding and securing the perfect venue can be challenging, especially as booking timelines continue to return to normal. But I really love Therese's tip about making that personal connection by reaching out directly to the hotel or venue. Adding that special touch. I know we're all focused on saving time. I myself have mentioned it throughout this webinar, but sometimes taking that extra step can really make all the difference. And it doesn't cost anything extra. It doesn't require a heavy lift. It's just picking up the phone. So finally, let's dive into the growing demand for special event venues. So like I just said, there's a rising demand. Nearly half of planners are seeking unconventional spaces like dynamic convention centers and vibrant restaurants. Special event venues help create unforgettable experiences, fostering attendee loyalty and sparking conversation. They're also interested in enhancing the attendee experience. So planners prioritize venues that are more than just a space. They're looking for activities, atmosphere, customization. This approach builds trust and satisfaction, encouraging attendees to return for future events. There's also an evolving success metric. Planners are shifting their focus from traditional metrics like attendance and engagement and positive feedback to now they're aligning venues offering that attendee expectation, right? So now engagement is more important than just simply saying, oh, we got 100 attendees. And so that can really impact future bookings. And finally, the power of collaboration. Majority of planners are partnering with various vendors to create holistic, engaging events. This collaborative spirit enhances events and strengthens community partnerships for long-term success. So as we navigate the changing landscape of event planning, prioritizing unique attendee experience is absolutely essential. By embracing innovative venues and fostering strong collaborations, planners, hoteliers, and event venues can create truly impactful events. So we have one more person that I'd love for y'all to hear from. Our last perspective comes from Mary Hettinger, Director, Event and Catering Sales at Fleming's Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar. So we chatted with her about the importance of unique attendee experiences, and I'd love for y'all to take a listen.
Yeah, increased interest in our venues. So most definitely, I would say where we are seeing the biggest increase is in clients that are interested in a full facility buyout. So guests are looking for something outside of the hotel world where, you know, they've got a little bit more flexibility with the venue space and can really just come in and use it as their own. So we've had a lot of success with buyouts over the last 2 years, as well as just looking for that turnkey, you know, scenario. So I would say those two things are probably the biggest level of interest in why they choose a special event venue over something else. Amplifying the attendee experience definitely is something that's been at the forefront for us over the last, I'd call it 2 to 3 years. Every year we're kind of building on what we as a brand can offer to planners to keep it super simple, give them one bill out the door versus having to source multiple vendors. So for us, it really comes down to, you know, we offer decor packages, we offer florists and be able to do floral arrangements in every venue. We source balloons. So really when it comes down to the experience piece, it's providing that 360 view of, hey, the event's going to come in and be phenomenal, but then to stack on top of that, we're finding guests are looking for more than just dinner or looking for more than just coming in and socializing, right? So it's how can you enhance the experience with either a chef-driven experience or a wine-driven experience that provides guests a fun touch point, right? We're not talking about going and having a full-blown education course, but we're talking about how can we tie in those fun touch points on a bottle of wine from the winemaker or the story of where the wine comes from. Wagyu, right? Wagyu is on the rise from a steak perspective. So being able to say, this is where it comes from, this is how it's sourced, all of those different things are really of interest to the guest experience when they think about how can we enhance dinner, but take it to the next level for our guests and really provide them something as a takeaway. Yeah, events that look to us, we are very heavy in like business dinners and, you know, places where they just have to show up. You know, that's the guest that's looking to come to us most frequently. I would say convention heavy markets are really thriving on the guest that's looking for something outside of the hotel world. So the special event venues, again, to tack on that experience of really just providing the guest an over the top evening or day part. So convention markets are really leaning into special event venues for those convention centric planners. Financial planners find that special event venues are better for their return. So we do a lot of business with financial planners because they feel like when they treat their guests to a really nice experience, the return for them as a financial planner is better. Pharmaceuticals as well lean into special event venues over hotels. Usually, you know, we are structured around a model that meets all of the specifications that a financial planner needs, or I'm sorry, a pharmaceutical planner needs when they're, you know, needing to have 3 separate receipts to submit for their financials and kind of meet all the mandates that they're required to meet. So really just meeting the guests where they're at for what their needs are for that particular event or a multitude of events that they're planning, is why they're leaning into a special event venue. Yes, it does. It does for sure. I would say, to elaborate on, the attendee experience or feedback, I would say, as we know, the mocktail or zero proof spirits are very much on the rise, right? As we have, either the sober curious generation going on, or just those guests that no longer drink or haven't ever. They're no longer happy with just, seltzer water as their experience. So you have all these new things that are popping up. You have really, really high end water bars, and you have, we no longer call them mocktails, we call them zero proof spirits, to where we're really customizing that experience so that it's something for everybody, right? You've got your normal bar experiences going on. You can do something with mixology or, something fun there. Smoked old fashioned bars seem to be a really, really popular thing right now. So you can have those, but then you can pair that with that experience that meets those guests that don't consume alcohol, in a really cool, water bar or zero proof spirit bar, to where they can get creative and walk away with something that they could do at home, or, just something that really gets them talking about the experience that they had at the event. So those are a few things that we've done that again, meet the guests where they're at and provide something for everybody, but are still on that experiential side of coming to something that's more than just dinner.
Yeah, so for many of us, it's no surprise that the attendee experience reigns supreme. Special event venues really shine in this area by creating a unique atmosphere. Yet, as Mary mentioned, the desire for turnkey service is still a major element. So for special event venues, this means there's a greater need to help show planners how different layouts and ways the space has been transformed before, right? Like, try to make it a little bit easier for them to see how, even though this giant slab of blank space feels overwhelming, we got you. We know exactly how you can do it. And on the flip side, for hotels, make sure you're highlighting your property's special elements and any unconventional setups that are possible. And just like I said earlier about how Therese is in the chat, so is Mary. So if you have any questions for her or anything, please, please, please engage her. So that's basically it. That's it for all of our speakers and for myself. So yeah, I'd like to open it up to questions. So if you have any more questions, if you haven't submitted it yet, now's the time. Go in there, submit a question. So give it a second. All right, so the first question is, it's interesting that special event venues are becoming more popular. Do you think this trend will continue? Yes, absolutely. So one thing we really saw was last year when we asked the question, what kind of events, what kind of spaces are you sourcing? Only 17% said non-hotels. This year, we've got 49% of planners saying that they are sourcing non-hotels. So that is a marketed jump. And we really do see that to continue. As Mary said, there's these unique experiences. I love the mocktail thing. I can't tell you how many times I've asked for a mocktail and just gotten orange juice with some Sprite. So making it fun for everyone, right? Having those unique things that are different. I think that hotels obviously have an opportunity to capitalize on that as well. But yeah, those special event venues, they are going to continue to take over. So it's something definitely to watch. Any other questions? Okay, so next question. With so many simple meetings on my plate, how can I save time on sourcing and avoid submitting so many RFPs for smaller events, especially when I just need space for 10 to 15 people? Yeah, so simple meetings, you need a simple booking process, right? That's honestly, that's no surprise. So planners, like, you don't want to spend a ton of time on simple meetings. You've got these large events that require so much time and energy. So utilize online booking tools like Cvent Instant Book. That will help to simplify the process. And for hotels and venues, it helps maximize your meeting and events booking. So it lets planners just instantly secure event space. So that way they don't have to go through the traditional RFP process. And it honestly just saves time for everyone. So yeah, it's that's my vote. Any other questions? Okay. What other new experiences are trending? You know, I would really, I would echo what Mary said about the mocktails. That is something that is actually really, really big right now. These non-alcoholic drinks. There's bars that are popping up that are going fully non-alcoholic. I can tell you that a few years ago, I would go to a bar, ask for a non-alcoholic drink, and you would get a Diet Coke. And now it's not the same. They have a whole menu dedicated to that. So that's one thing. And I think it's the trends that are really taking over are the trends that offer something different. So we all remember those paint by numbers kind of things like that. But now it's how do you take it up a notch? Anything else? Just checking the chat. I don't know if we have any more questions. Oh, it seems like planners are willing to pay a little more to stick with their preferred venue. What are some ways my hotel can keep that loyalty going, even when cost is a big factor? Yeah, so I would love for like Therese, hop in, please feel free to answer. But one thing I noticed, so a couple years ago at Connect, not this past year, last year at Connect, I was interviewing a planner and she was saying that just picking up the phone, right? Throughout the year, even when they have no business coming your way, even when nothing's going on or there are events in the books, but it's so far out, just checking in and calling and seeing how they're doing, seeing if there's anything they need, seeing how you can help, just keeping that relationship going, right? If you're only talking to them when they need something, when you need something, that's a very business transactional relationship. When you turn that into a true relationship and you are there to help them in whatever their needs are, that is how you build that loyalty. That is how they come back to you because they remember that you actually care. You actually care how their events program's going, how their business is going. And that it is priceless, right? So that costs absolutely nothing. And people are willing to pay more when they know you're going to go the extra mile for them, right? It's just how it works, right? We're going to go with those that we trust a little bit more. So yeah, just that extra special, sending them an email every once in a while saying, hey, checking in, wondering how you're doing. Is there anything I can help you with? Any new events? When you're proactive in keeping that relationship alive and making sure that you have their back, it's definitely gonna inspire more loyalty. Okay, which market segments have shown an increase in hotel bookings lately? So a great way to learn more about this information. So Cvent Source, feel free to, we have webinars, we have so much information there. The Pulse, if you haven't heard of it, it's called the North Star Cvent Meeting Industry Pulse Survey. And we do a ton of deep dives into planner sentiment, and that comes out every other month. So that would be really super helpful in this area. Let me check with the rest of the questions. So for the question about adding upcharge experiences while keeping consolidated billing, could you, if you want to hop in the chat, Therese wants to help answer that, but she just needs a little bit more clarification. And I would love to get your answer or your question fully answered. So if you could go back in there, I think it was Melissa who asked it. If you're no longer with us, Melissa, I got it. All righty. Well, I appreciate everyone asking their questions. I hope I did a pretty decent job in answering them. But again, my LinkedIn is in the chat. So if you have anything that you want to ask, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. So today we talked a lot about the relationship between planners and suppliers and insights that will help everyone involved in the meeting and events industry thrive. One of the best ways to not only expand your business and knowledge in the industry is to join us for our annual Cvent Connect, which I talked about a little bit earlier. So registration is live, and we're currently soliciting suggestions from those who plan on attending for session topics and for speakers. And then for our hotels and venues and suppliers, Cvent Connect is also a great way to network with planners. So we have a lot of different ways that you can do this with both sponsorship opportunities, and we have a dedicated trade show. It's honestly such a great way to forge new relationships. I've been the last 3 years, and the ratio of planners to suppliers, it's amazing. You will truly leave with new connections and new business. So you have to check it out. And with that, that's it. That's my time for the day. So I'm going to bring today's webinar to a close. Again, my name is Jamie Welch, and it's been so amazing to chat with you all today. I hope that you bookmark and download and read the full planner sourcing report. There's a lot of awesome, great information in there. And don't forget to sign up to complete a demo with us. Go to the bottom, hit request a demo, and we'll send you a $100 Amazon gift card. And I'll see you all soon.